Welcome to the Shrewdness. We are so excited about this baseball-focused endeavor. As teased in prior episodes, we are doing 15 to 20-minute primers for each MLB team to prepare you for this 2025 season, to help you with your fantasy baseball drafts and future bets, or simply to improve your knowledge as the season begins. From the projected starters to the prospects, we will touch it all and give our shrewd takes on the key to their success. So sit back, take some notes, and enjoy the show. Welcome, Shrewdness, to another episode of our baseball primers. Today, we're going to take you through the Milwaukee Brewers, and we're going to be led by Padog. So, Prue, get us started and tell us what's going to see in Milwaukee this year, Brew City.
Prime time.
Well, thanks for the great intro, guys. So Brewers are like perennial first place or top of the division in the NL Central. They've been in the postseason 6 of the last 7 years, and have had
way different than the Brewers of our youth, for sure.
Yes,
True.
Yeah, they've really been on a tear the last decade, really. 90-plus wins. 3 of the last 4 seasons. Very likely going to win the NL Central again this year.
And how many World Series appearances in that?
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem.
Sorry, Brewers fans. Sorry, Brewers fans.
Too soon. You can't just lead with that, Chisholm.
They haven't won a playoff series since 2018.
Woo!
Despite being in the postseason all those times. So
Wow, that's unbelievable.
it's
just
hard.
One and done
Yeah.
or out, huh?
That guy's like they're the twins of the.
Hey! Whoa! Stay your tongue, young man.
Something about that area of the country, I guess.
You may continue, Pruitt. Let's delete that Twins reference.
Here's what's slightly amazing is that last year, Fangraphs and Pacoda had the Brewers listed at like 78 or 79 wins. They won 93 games last year.
Yes.
Just absolutely destroyed it.
That's
I feel
crazy.
Like every season it's like that.
And their over-under was basically the same as their projections. Like, if you took their over, you had it beat early, and you were, smoking a cigar in like
You had it beat in
July.
August, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a big reason last year the over-under went down so much is they lost Corbin Burns, who was like the perennial Cy Young contender, to Baltimore. And so that probably was a big reason, but they had to just step up. So I think probably hit on those later, but that is surprising though. I would every year you look at this team and the lineup and you're like, how are they going to win any games? And then every year they just keep beating everyone's ass in the Central. Like, oh, that's how.
That's kind of what I thought when I went through this too. I was like, I have no idea how they're going to get to 90 wins again, but they've done it 3 of the last 4 years with probably not even this good of a lineup sometimes. So
yeah,
it's like a Pester Strato team from the 90s. It's just kind of like, what is this thing?
How do you keep beating me? I don't understand.
How is this team beating people? So this year's Fangraphs 500 record, 81-81. Go to the same way, 80.2. Essentially a 500 season is what they're predicting. Over under right there too at 82.5. So they're predicting a very average team. I don't know. I think that might be low. I think they could do a little higher than that once you go through the lineup and so forth, which we'll do here in a second. I think there's no obvious holes in this lineup, and they're a very well-rounded team against a not great division. We'll talk about their competition a little bit later too, but they could easily repeat as NL Central champs.
Yeah, they're a young team on the offensive side anyway.
Yeah, let's. So I'm gonna start with the bullpen. Believe it or not.
Hey, let's go.
This is a
Tater
team.
and Devin Williams still there? What are we talking about the bullpen for?
Nope, no Devin Williams. This is the number 2 bullpen in 2024.
Wow.
Huh.
And they did lose Devin Williams. They traded him to the Yankees and they traded Devin Williams, traded away to the Yankees. They added Nestor Cortez, who's a starting pitcher, and Caleb Durbin, who's their second baseman, who's been a minor leaguer until now. But anyway, even with the loss of Devin Williams, they've got a bunch of studs in their bullpen. They've got Trevor McGill stepped in last year as the closer, saved 21 games, 1.01 WHIP, 9.7 Ks per nine. So hard throwing right-hander that can hopefully repeat the good numbers this year. Setup guys, Jared Koenig, 9-4 last year, 9 Ks per nine, 2.47 ERA out of the pen.
Okay.
Hobie Milner, another guy with almost 9 Ks per nine, 5-1 in the bullpen. Brian Hudson, where was it? 62 innings pitched, 28 hits given up.
Good Lord. That's
and 17
ridiculous.
walks for a .72 WHIP.
Jeez.
Where did they find these guys?
Right?
I mean, that's
This
a good
dude-
bullpen. We've gone through a few of these previews, and we're always like, well, this guy kind of
Yeah.
blows.
They
Reclamation
usually are
project.
just innings eaters at the back of your pen, and then maybe one closer. This is
Right.
These guys
like,
look like studs.
There's like 5 or 6 guys with 9 Ks per 9 innings and just very good, very solid ERAs and WHIP numbers. Like, this is a strength for sure. They will win a bunch of close
it's
games
not, and
with
it's
these
not
guys.
like a bunch of names either. It's not like a bunch of
No.
guys you're like, oh yeah, Devin Williams. You know, this is not that.
The last guy I wanted to mention is Aaron Ashby. This is another reliever who they're hoping that he can work into a starter's role, at least for a while, until they get Brandon Woodruff back from injury. Ashby's another guy with limited action last year. I think he himself came back from injury, but a sparkling ERA in just a few short outings in September, 20 Ks in 13 innings. So another hard throwing guy, flashes of brilliance type guy, may work his way into a fifth starter role for a little while.
I want to hit on Brandon Woodruff. I mean, for the folks
Okay.
out there for fantasy, he is really good. He's arguably their number one, and for sure the number two. He'd be ahead of Cortez and all those other guys. But Peralta and Woodruff are the best two starters in this lineup for the rotation. I mean, in 2022, he is 13-4 with 190 Ks in just 150 innings. So this dude
Jeez.
is legit, real deal. He's 32, but that doesn't really mean too much for pitching. He probably has 5 years left. So it's just someone to keep in mind, especially from a fantasy perspective. Don't sleep on Woodruff, because if he comes back in the spring, do a flyer on him, because he should be back. He should be all right.
But he's
what
probably
I
not going to
read,
be ready for opening day, right? That's what I've heard.
yeah, what I read was that he's probably not going to be ready for opening day, but they're talking like, by May he'll be back in the rotation, which means that Aaron Ashby or DL Hall, or who are kind of their projected fifth starters right now, those guys would probably step back into the bullpen,
DL
and
Hall.
Woodruff would enter the
DL
rotation.
Hall sounds like an NPC.
Yeah, these are like sneaky good guys all the way up and down the pitching staff that if you threw a dart, if they came into my living room right now, I wouldn't know any of these guys are.
Right.
Like, whoa,
Right.
who the hell are you guys? And they're all like
Right,
legitimate.
I've heard of Peralta. He's
Yeah.
been a pretty strong
Oh,
pitcher
yeah.
for them. 10.4 Ks per 9 last year, 170 innings, only 11 wins, but threw a lot of innings and strikes out a lot of guys. Nestor Cortez was, like I mentioned earlier, they picked up from the Yankees. 4.2 Ks per walk, so another kind of hard throwing guy with good control, not going to walk a lot of guys. Gets some strikeouts. He also had 170 plus innings last year. And then you add in Woodruff, and that is an outstanding top 3.
Yeah.
And then mix in Tobias Myers, who had 25 starts last year, a 3 ERA and a 1.17 WHIP. And then Aaron Savale, who came over from Tampa Bay last year, and was a
Savale,
decent 4 or
he's
5th starter.
Yeah, he's a classic rock, pretty good. I mean, he's better than an innings eater, and he's had some good seasons in the past.
Wasn't he a Indian Guardian.
He was
at one point.
Yeah,
I thought I remember him from
Gardidian.
Gardidian.
Yes. Savali. I mean, he was hurt. I can't remember what was wrong with him though, but Aaron Savali was been around for a minute and he's been pretty decent. He doesn't suck at all. I'm trying to see what other teams.
He was with.
He's 29. Yeah, he's pretty young. But Cleveland.
Yeah,
then he went to Tampa. That's right.
Tampa.
So Cleveland to Tampa, and then he got traded last year to Milwaukee midseason.
That's right.
He's pretty solid. So there's nothing wrong with him. Don't sleep on him
Tampa
either.
Bay, though, I'm always kind of like, ooh, maybe he got.
I'll take him.
I know.
I'll take him.
It seems like they instantly become better.
They do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So anyway, if like everything I've said so far points to solid team, no obvious holes, right?
Yeah, the pitching looks good.
Yeah,
They're sneaky good.
they are.
I mean,
sneaky.
I would take Cortez as a 4 for the Royals, which is like
Right?
Yeah.
I would take him over. I mean, over the Flyers we have over the. He's not going to break our top 3, but the Royals have a great rotation.
Well, right now we're focusing on the Brewers.
My point is that was like kind of a throwaway kind of a thing, and this guy is a solid starter, and he's kind of like a whatever on this team. They've got a real pen, and they've got a real rotation.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk in the Yankees preview later, but when you get Max Fried, you kind of clear up a spot later, Nestor.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
Yep.
Don't need you. Don't let the door hit you.
Right.
So I mentioned Devin Williams got traded away to the Yankees. The other big loss, Willie Adames, I think that's how you say it.
It is.
Yeah.
He was a free agent, signed with San Francisco.
That dude's
32
a stud.
homers. Yeah, 32 homers, 112 RBI last year.
I mean,
for the Brewers. That's a tough spot to fill.
Yeah, it's really tough, especially because he's a middle infielder, right?
Yeah, shortstop.
Like, to have that kind of number as a middle infielder is ridiculous.
It's huge.
Yep.
You get
Those
paid.
are like A-Rod numbers. As a shortstop in the National League, that doesn't happen a whole lot.
No.
So this is where the Brewers need a lot of things to go right, is in their lineup. That's probably, I mean, they have some strength in the bullpen, like I mentioned. Starting pitching is very solid. Lineup has a few holes, maybe, or a few maybe kind of weak spots.
Striking fear here when I'm looking at it. It's like,
it doesn't. But again, they're not.
I think they're sneaky.
They're sneaky. That's a good word. Yep. So probably leading off for the Brewers in 2025, Bryce Terang. He's a Platinum Gold Glove winner in 24.
That's always helpful. That's helpful up the middle.
With the loss of Adames, he's probably going to move from second base, which is where he got his Gold Glove, over to short. He contributed 50 stolen bases last year.
That's like
that's a great threat at the top of the lineup.
It's like a Ricky Henderson 100 stolen bases back in the day. Equivalized, it feels like.
Rest in peace, sir.
R.I.P. Ricky. R.I.P.
Yeah. There's only a small handful of guys that'll get to 50 in that department. Right. Second in the lineup, Jackson Churio, 20-year-old
Cheerio.
Stud from 2024.
He's 20.
Yeah.
20 years
20.
old. Third in Rookie of the Year voting last year. 20 homers, 20 steals as a 20-year-old.
Yeah, 2020, your first year.
He's going to be a stud for many years to come. And that's a great spot in the lineup for him.
Yeah, quick flavor on him. He was obviously I think he was a top prospect in baseball last year. But the last guy to play the first full year that young recently was Juan Soto. So he's he's in that echelon. He's just so advanced. He's so freaking advanced.
Well, yeah, 20 years old to be. I mean, that's insane to hit 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases in the major leagues.
Dude can't go get a cold one in Bruce City,
right.
But he's going 2020.
Right,
he's a freak. So
but he's hitting homers off starters in the MLB. All right, I'll keep moving here. Christian Yelich is back. He had back surgery last August, cut his season short. He's getting older. He's like 33 years old. Probably going to be relegated to DH most of the year. He would be kind of a liability in the outfield. And you got really good defenders out there.
Yeah.
They really don't need him out there. He did have a solid average. 350. He hit 315 in 73 games last year before going down with injuries and so forth. 21 steals too as a 32-year-old last year, so he'll still steal a bag. He'll hit a handful of homers and hit for a high average. So if he can stay healthy, that'll be one of their keys to scoring runs is keeping him in the lineup.
Hell, where's Ryan Braun in this lineup? I mean,
he's next up. But right. So Christian Yelich, he's been a far cry. So his last really good years were 2018, 2019 when he won the MVP, and then he was runner-up MVP the next season, where he really probably could have won it again. But regardless, last year he still made the All-Star team. It was the first time that
315.
It's been a minute. He only played 73 games and still made the All-Star team. But he batted 315. He raised his average back up to normal. His whole thing is just being healthy. That back has been a nagging thing for years. If he can stay healthy, I mean, he still stole, 24 bases or 20-some bases last year.
21, yep.
Yeah, and he was healthy. So once he came back, he did really well. Exactly. So that's 40 stolen base pace right there, and we were just kind of making fun of Terrain got 50 in a full season. That's kind of where Yelich could be.
So if you're keeping track at home, Shrewdness fans, 50 stolen bases out of your leadoff, 20 out of your second guy, 21 out of your third guy. This team is going to have to, this team is going to have to take extra bases because they lost a lot of their power when Adames went over to San Francisco.
Play some small ball.
Yep.
They will play the small ball this year. William Contreras will not play the small ball. He is their catcher and their primo source of offense.
Yeah, he's
4.9 WAR last year as a catcher. Caught 120 games and DH'd for 35 more. So in the lineup every day.
He's a Salvador Perez.
Top 10 in the league and average walks, Lewis. Hits, run. 5th in the MVP voting. He led the Brewers in average on base percentage, OPS, runs, walks, hits, doubles.
Is that all?
The dude does it all.
And 26.
Even with Adames.
Potential on the way up.
Yeah,
he's
even
only
with
26.
Adames in the lineup, he led the Brewers in all those categories last year.
Man.
And he's still around. So he's going to hit cleanup this year, and I think will benefit a ton from having those first three ahead of him in the lineup, taking extra bases and all that. He's gonna knock in 100 runs this year.
Yep,
pretty easy. 5th in the lineup, Garrett Mitchell.
This is kind of where it falls off, right?
Yeah, those first 4 guys are going to contribute a lot. They are going to carry the offense. The next 5 are more like utility type guys, filling in, playing good defense. Solid average, guys that can get on base a little bit, maybe hit a few home runs.
On Sal Frelick. I mean, Sal Frelick.
We'll get there. You
gotta love that. All right. I'll wait.
Yeah, but no, keep on rolling.
So Garrett Mitchell, like I mentioned, he'll hit in the 5th hole most likely. Center fielder. He's 26, pretty average. Really no flaws in his game. He hits for a decent average. Not a huge power guy, but I think he was out part of last year as well. A little bit of injury problems. So
he feels like what's his WAR? He feels like a 0 WAR guy to me.
Those
guys, it's just.
I think all their guys have a small WAR contribution. Like we're
talking about Sal.
No. So Garrett Mitchell. So the thing is,
Frelick had 2.1 WAR. That is a great year.
I know. I'm getting there, Lou.
He's not hitting yet, though.
Yeah.
He's not hitting.
That's
Garrett Mitchell's 5th.
Garrett Mitchell was their 2020.
Mitchell had a 2.0 WAR, which actually is really good.
Yeah,
that's
so Garrett
really
Mitchell was their 2020 first-round pick, and when he's healthy, he's pretty darn good. I mean, he should be a 2020 guy. I mean, he strikes out a lot, but the thing is, he plays good defense. He's fast as all get out, and he's got 2020 upside. There is worse than you can do than Garrett Mitchell.
342 OBP. Sir, yes. 342 OBP. I don't care about the 255
batting
average.
Anytime.
And how many steals last year?
Like that,
11 steals last year.
Oh my god.
Dexter
And this was
like
in 196 at bats.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he played
Okay.
like a third of a season. He was also on pace for like 40 stolen bases.
But for fantasy purposes, keep a lookout for Garrett Mitchell, especially in five
God.
outfielder leagues. In 5 outfielder leagues, you could do way worse than having him be your 4th or 5th outfielder.
His
and the thing
OPS,
is, he's gonna fall off the radar in a lot of leagues. So make sure
his
he's
OPS
not off yours.
plus
Right.
was 123. All right. So we talk about WAR and stuff, but like a good OPS plus is 100.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
No, Garrett Mitchell's actually legit. Like from all the numbers that I'm seeing here, like
He's 26. He's
could be-
going in. He's going to
Yeah.
go into his prime couple years this year, next year, the year
Is
after.
everybody on this team going into their prime couple years? It feels like.
I'm
not
telling
Reese
you.
Hoskins, not Reese Hoskins.
Well, except for Reese
Not Yelich.
Hoskins.
Not Yelich,
Yeah.
not Rhys Hoskins.
Right.
Yelich can still hold his own.
Right.
So the other, you mentioned Mitchell for fantasy purposes. That's the sneaky part about guys that are hurt like that, is
Yep.
that when they're in the lineup, they are super productive. But if you're just glancing down through for league leaders, who's the guys that ended the season with 150 RBI or whatever?
Right.
He's
Yeah.
not going to make any of those lists, but when he's in there, he's going to produce. And so if you can stand to have a guy that might get injured, if you have an extra outfielder or whatever to cover for that, he's going to produce while he's in the lineup. So he is a
Sure.
good kind of sneaky pick.
What about Reese Hoskins?
Reese Hoskins is going to hit 6th and play first base.
Is he going to hit 6th or is he going to be in the 6th
He's gonna-
position?
He's going to make plate appearances in the 6th position.
Dude, he is 100% Hunter Renfroe. Like he is
Yes.
exactly Hunter Renfroe.
Yes, he
Reese
is.
Hoskins, well, in many ways, he might be Hunter Renfroe. Salary-wise, he's not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Reese Hoskins is getting paid $22 million to hit
Dear
$215.
God, $22 million.
But this is it. This is the last year for that, though. So they could move on from him because it's sunk cost, right? He's
Yeah.
only signed through this year. So, like, cool, it's a lot of money, but, like, it's a mutual option, though. That means he might be able to exercise.
No,
But so we mock him, right? We make fun of him, but the dude still bangs out close to 30 homers a season. And you could
Yeah.
do worse. I mean, last year is 26 homers, 82 RBIs. Sure, he batted .214, but we've highlighted, whatever. He still had a 300 on base. He walked enough. And
300 on base.
yeah, but
Yeah,
he's
that's
not
what-
really there to get on base. He's there to swing and get 26 homers and 82 RBIs.
That's actually really good if you only hit 215.
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
true.
It's surprisingly
That's
good.
true.
All of his metrics show that he's bringing him down. A literal replacement player can come in and do what he's
Right.
doing.
He's got
He was-
one
I-
more.
It's
I think he was the only
He
one
was
that was negative
negative.
last year.
negative 0.2. Like he's
Negative
bringing
0.2.
them down.
Yeah.
I think he's god awful in defense. I don't think he
He's
helped.
horrible on defense.
First base.
He is
Yeah.
horrible on defense.
So the
Like,
articles
And
that
you
I
gotta have
read,
Yelich DHing.
yeah, that's right. So the articles that I read, Brewers have this guy named Tyler Black. I don't know much about him yet, but he's kind of their heir apparent for first base. It depends on how willing they are to swallow that $22 million salary of Hoskins.
Tyler Black, 24-year-old, born in Toronto, Canada. He did play a little bit last year and was kind of meh, but he is 24, facing major league pitching and limited. And they are expecting him to develop and be some kind of infielder, third base, first base guy. It depends.
Well, and his if you look at the guy, you want to talk about a guy who gets on base, Tyler Black's OVP in the
Compared to
minors
his average.
is really, really good, and he doesn't strike out. He's like he's got like 18% strikeout rate, which is
So we need to watch Tyler Black in spring training is what we're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Keep an eye on
that's what the expectation is. If he performs in spring training, I think they want him playing.
They
So-
probably will, yeah. I mean, there's a good chance he makes the team. They'll have to figure out what to do with Hoskins. If Tyler Black plays well this spring, they'll have some hard decisions maybe to make for first base.
I think they could maybe look at trading him to the Red Sox.
No, it's kind of a funny thing, but for Shrewdness, go back and listen to our Red Sox things. We were talking about Tristan Cassis kind of being a black hole in their lineup. You could do worse. I mean, put a dude that just swings for the fences all the time, and that's not actually a bad fit.
I know. Put him over there. They like to pay a lot of money.
They do. They don't care.
Prime, so
but they like the
It's a one-year rental, though. His contract's up the end. It'd actually be perfect. Red Sox don't eat much.
I thought lefty hitters had the value in Boston.
In Fenway.
Well, you got the Green Monster, which obviously doesn't hurt the right-hand hitter. But for lefties, if they can go opposite field with Reese Hoskins, I believe he cannot. I think that dude is one of the most pull hitters in the world.
I agree.
I don't know if that changed.
He's not going to hit homers. He's just going to bang off doubles. So
here's where the Brewers lineup gets a little dicey. 7, 8, 9. Right fielder Sal Frelick is hitting 7th, most likely.
So Sal Frelick is
good. A decent year. He had a decent year.
I'm not buying Sal Frelick. I'm sorry.
So did Joey Ortiz. I'm kind of shocked at how
he's right. It's because of their defense, Lou.
Gotcha.
Their high WAR numbers are due to defensive,
which helps
ability.
Your pitching. That's why. That's one reason your pitchers look so good.
He is also 24, so let's not just get all over him yet. I mean, he's in the majors when he was 23, and now he's going to be his 24. It's going to be his second season. If he can get his bat going, what he's doing in the minors, it could be pretty good.
If you get rid of Sal, how could you replace those 2 home runs and 235 average that he had last year?
I'm going to tell you how. So guess what? So it's a spring training story, right? I'm in the best shape of my life. Well, at 24, Sal Frelick put on 25 pounds of muscle in the offseason.
Oh, okay.
So he's probably on roids. He's probably going to chest pause and be out for the next 80 games. But
it's a Whit Merrifield transformation.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens, right? I want to see what he does in spring. If he starts cranking him out, sounds good. I mean, they got that ratty-ass stadium in Scottsdale. So we'll see if he starts plugging them out.
It's really hard to have a guy in right that hits 2 home runs. That is like a second baseman.
Unless he goes the David Boston adding muscle and being worthless as a professional athlete route, he could be pretty good. So let's see what he looks like. Let's see how it plays out. But Sal Frelick has a lot of upside for a 24-year-old who came up through the organization as one of their top prospects. It was him and Churio. They're supposed to be in the outfield for the next decade. Let's see if it happens.
Dexter, you're not related to Sal Frelick, are you?
Sigh. He's fast and
he's good. I'm interested. After you told me he put on 25 pounds, I'm interested in his drug tests for sure.
I am interested more in that almost than anything else.
I mean, I can put on 25 pounds pretty easy in the offseason.
And hopefully he's still fast. I don't know.
I put on 25 pounds on a bad weekend.
Of muscle, Lou. Of muscle.
Yeah, that's much harder to do. Anyway, he's in there for his defense, honestly. He's like Lou mentioned, he's a high WAR player. There's value there. He's not a bad, addition to this team. He's just not going to do a whole lot with the bat.
Right.
Unless he does. Like Dexter mentioned, he's still young.
And at second,
around here.
You got Caleb the Crane Durbin. I can't believe they got that dude in there. 5 years in the minors. Meh.
So Joey Ortiz hits 8th, third baseman. Again, another guy with injury problems for the Brewers.
I kind of like this guy though.
Yeah, he's. I think he's a solid contributor. Plays multiple positions. He'll be fine. I think they're banking on him staying healthy. That's his main issue, or it was last year.
He has position flexibility. That's probably one of his bigger values.
And then Caleb Durbin will hit 90. Like I mentioned early in the show, he's coming over from the Yankees as part of the Devin Williams deal. 5 years in the minors. Another kind of light hitting guy, lots of stolen base potential. They're planning on playing him at second.
It's an entire team full of Seths, it feels like. Like these are kind of...
Yeah.
But this is how they do it. This is how they go from an 81, 82 projection to winning 90 games is they just find the right people and then they unload them before they get too expensive.
And they dink and doink and steal and put pressure on you.
And, defensively, a lot of base running capability. They're going to take the extra base, draw a walk. Like we mentioned several guys on here that have high on base percentages, despite some of their low hitting averages. So
yeah, a lot of these guys they're patient hitters are pretty good. Joey Ortiz, just one more thing. It sounds like to start off spring training, they have him at shortstop and they're keeping Bryce Trang at second base. So I think their thoughts are
really?
Move it's kind of like our Chiefs deal, right? Moving Joe Tooney at premier left guard to left tackle. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
So they're going to keep their platinum glove, best defender in the entire National League at second. I think that's what they want to do. And so I think Joey Ortiz is at least going to start off at short, which then you'll love it. Sal Frelick is going to be getting some looks at third base.
Yes.
He's good in the outfield, but they got enough outfielders, and I think
what you need is a light-hitting third baseman.
That's it.
Like I said, I think what I was seeing is that it looked like Tyler Black might get some of those reps at third, too.
And there you go.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about right there.
So Brew?
Yeah, this is why we're still a little unsure, as it's, spring training's a long few weeks here to see how this is all going to shake out. But
so how you feeling? That over-under number, 82.5. What are you thinking? Are you leaning away? You have a lock here? Or are we leaning?
I'm definitely leaning. I don't like the fact that they were so far off with this team last year. For them to win 93 games again is going to seems like impossible. But then, like we've said a few times now, you look up and down this lineup, and it's not bad. And the pitching is pretty good, and the bullpen is outstanding. So it's just a really well-rounded, solid team. They're not going to hit a ton of home runs. They might get outslugged a little bit in some games, but they're going to hit the ball, get on base, and steal bases, and win with their pitching.
Pitching and defense and speed can go a long ways, especially in these close games, because you can steal a run in the late innings, right? It's like, get on base, get to second, and then that little soft-hitting, light-hitting outfielder or third baseman can knock you in.
Yeah,
that's right.
I guess if I'm making the call right now, I'm going to lean over 82.5.
Yeah.
Like I said at the top of the show, the Central's kind of weak. There's a couple teams they'll get to beat on all season long. And they really, if they had 4 or 5 guys to go down with injuries again this year, that would be pretty unlucky. So if they can keep at least most of this lineup healthy, get Woodruff back, get another at least half a season out of Yelich, they'll be tough.
It seems like they got depth in pitching too. So even if they have some unfortunate injuries, they got 6, 7 kind of guys that can take care of business in the starting rotation.
So I love the over for organization. Like, you bet on the organization to do things right. The problem is that the organization does things right. And if they're like, cool, I think we're going to be on pace to win 81 games, but we're not going to win this year, they are one of the first teams to be like, cool, all right, let's go ahead and reload for the future and just get rid of a lot of their talent and tank a little bit just because they know it's probably better for them not to. If they're not going to win, they'd rather just lose. Right. That's the only thing that makes me anxious. Also, this has been hard for me because I'm not used to this, but we had a pennant race last year, and I got to remember to watch what's like getting over 500 towards the end of the year. If it's getting close, that was hard. There's this fight to get around 500, and everybody is just absolutely tooth and nail because the margins are so tight between 80 and 84 wins. So you either kind of run up over it and you're easy and you coast in, but if you end up in anywhere close, man, it gets tight.
It's all about September.
I think that number is highly dependent, believe it or not, on the Cubs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if the Cubs start running away with it, like a lot of people think they're going to be so stacked. If they start running away with it, like Lewis said, you could definitely see the Brewers going, this isn't going to be our year. We'll sell off, and then
which is probably the right answer.
It is the right answer, but
I could see that, but 6 out of the last 7 years,
I agree.
In the playoffs.
No, I agree. I like I would lean over too. I lean over too when I look at the organization, but
I also lean over, but I also am a little bit anxious about these aspects.
Yeah.
They should be top 2 in the Central. It should be them and the Cubs, and that's just kind of what happens, right? The other 3, and we'll talk about them later on in future episodes, but I don't see how Cincy or St. Louis can really do much in this division.
Cy Young winning Brady Singer, man.
Right. Well, yeah.
True. I mean, that's one. So, yeah, we'll get to that one later on. But all in all, I think this team is young. I think they have upside. Their main guys they need to be good are 26, 27, 28 going to the prime, and Churrio's 20.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that dude's a stud. And then you got defense, right? When you play defense and can pitch, a lot of good things can happen. So
that's right.
I think there's a lot of upside for this team.
Yep, 100%. All right. That's my wrap on the Brewers. Thanks for joining the show. We'll be back with more Major League Baseball episodes in the coming days. Stay tuned.
Like, follow, subscribe so you can stay on tune. We're going to be doing about 4 or 5 of these a week, hopefully. So make sure you get the newest one, especially before your fantasy drafts, which will be coming up in a couple weeks. Right. So we're going to keep you on par. So stay shrewd.
Stay shrewd.